Lab 4 is very similar to Lab 3 in that it's really about selections, tools, and a few other just odds and ends. But I want to give you this quick overview so you know what the expectation is. So step 1 is to open Kendall.jpg. That's this picture. Guys, Jason Kendall, now retired baseball player, spent most of his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Oddly enough, I photographed, this was for, I don't know, public radio in Pittsburgh, but I had photographed him while he was in high school, which was in Torrance. Anyway, a lot of history there. Anyway, nice guy. So step 2 is to select Mr. Kendall and his surfboard. Now, you might think in terms of, well, using the lasso, because, our marquee that's not very shapely, and, oddly enough, the magic wand is just going to give you a bunch of odd shapes, and you have so many different values that the magic wand isn't so good. You can try it. You can also try the quick selection tool, but this is a very problematic image because you have different tones. Like down here in the sand, you have shadows and weird shapes, and I'll tell you, none of these tools are perfect for everything, so you need to switch tools as you go. So back to the lasso, and back to just showing you what it's supposed to look like. I'm going to go up here. I guess I'll turn on my mouse pose effect. Now you can see what I'm doing here. Here's the lasso, and you could just kind of, try to trace him. But the thing is, it takes a while. Again, in another video, there's the instruction that to add to a selection, you hold down the Shift key. So let's just say if I, have his head here, and then I want to get the surfboard, I hold the Shift key, and I click over here, and that makes my selection bigger. Holding down the Shift key adds to the selection. But let's just say I got some sky in there. Oops, I don't want sky. So holding down the Option key helps you delete from a selection. So there's a whole video on that, I believe in last week's sequence. So Shift adds, Option deletes. Anyway, this is a tricky picture because, again, you have a lot of different shades and no one tool works for everything. So anyway, I already did this since I didn't want to spend a lot of video time on it. I'm going to go ahead and load the selection that I made earlier. So it's still not the greatest selection, but it's not bad. So once you have him thoroughly selected, you go up and you want to inverse that selection. That means come up to the select menu and inverse it. Now, before I click here, you'll notice that he and the surfboard are selected. The marching ants are around those two. When I go up and inverse it, all of a sudden the marching ants are around everything outside, from the outer edge all the way up to him and the surfboard. So basically, inversing it flips the selection so that everything else is selected. And the point of that is that sometimes it's easier to select what you don't want and inverse it than it is to select what you want. You'll find that comes in handy with hair, some types of building structures, things that you end up, working with a lot in Photoshop. So it's just kind of a good thing to remember. Sometimes it's easier to select what you don't want and then invert the selection. So that's step 3. So once you have it inverted, delete it. I'm going to hit my delete key, and I'm going to, let's see, when you hit the delete key, you get this fill menu, and the contents I'm going to change to white. Simple enough. Click OK, and well, there he is. So now I can click off. Easy enough. This is what it's supposed to look like. Now, use the clone tool to remove the P from his cap. The clone tool is the rubber stamp right there, and I believe that's covered in another video also quite a bit. I'm going to make my brush really small, and I'm just going to take a sample there and show you. Yeah, it's pretty easily done here. All right, so there, pretty cool and groovy, huh? Okay, now after that, we resize proportionately the image so that it is long at so that its long dimension is 4 inches. Now here's the deal. We have a lot of white space here. And so if we go to image size, change our long dimension to 4 inches, well, look at this. They're almost identical, 7 and 7.22. Well, 7.22 is longer, so I'm going to make that 4 inches. Click OK, and hardly anything changes. But it does change. But now here's kind of the tricky thing. Is that step 5, we're going to add a new layer and name it stroke. So to add a new layer, we come on up here to the layer menu, go to new and layer. You can also access that by coming over here to where the layer panel is. And with the layer panel selected, you can come up here to our little windows here. Oh, you got to double click on this to unlock it. And now I can, let's see, where is, I can come down here to add a layer mask, a new layer. Where's the new layer? Here's create a new layer. Either way, you can do it down here or come up to layer, new layer. It works. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to call it stroke. Click OK. Now, with my stroke layer selected, I'm going to select all. You'll see now I've got marching ants. They're a little tough to see, but with the marching ants showing, I'll go to edit and stroke. I'm going to make my stroke size 2 pixels. I'm going to make the stroke color black. Now, what this is going to do is with a centered stroke is that it's just going to put a black line around the outer edge of this image. Now, it's going to be hard to see because we're working on a black screen, and a black stroke on a black edge looks like just more edge. So you're going to have to believe that it's there. But now with that done, I'm going to save it. I'm going to go to File and Save. Where's Save? It's here. And I'm just going to call it, I'm going to switch it to being a JPEG. That's going to flatten it. I'm saving it on my desktop for now. I'll hit Save, and I'm just going to click on through. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. No. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it open there. But I will hide Photoshop for a second. Now I'm going to come over onto my desktop, and you'll see here that, well, gosh, I don't have this blown up too well, but you can see that there's a little black stroke around here. Having the black stroke is the way to give an outline to the overall piece when you're printing something that has a white area on white paper. So that might sound kind of goofy, but it's a nice trick to know. So it's also part of a little bit of a test to see how many people actually watch the video. So I don't share that with everybody, just the students who watch the video. So anyway, put the stroke around it, and that way I can tell at a quick glance if all the other things are falling into place. Ultimately, you're going to save it. This is what you upload to Titanium. And, oh yeah, what's wrong with this picture? He has no feet. The thing is about this exercise, when I had him standing in the sand, his feet got buried. So this is kind of where you get the extra credit points. If you come up with a creative solution for feet for Mr. Kendall. Some people have used duck boots, Daffy Duck, Mickey Mouse things. People have made dinosaur feet. People have done nothing at all. It's kind of a creative option for you to just kind of play. Find a solution for giving him feet. It's okay to be goofy and have some fun with it. All right. Okay, have some fun. We'll see you this week.